It happens to all the champions I love to play. Lux, Xerath, Brand, Vel'Koz. They all share the same fate. Demoted from the mid lane and forced to the babysitting role that is support. Just like me. And it's about time this champion joins the fray, but she actually does extremely well in this role, and we'll talk about why that is. That's right, we're talking about the sad robot, and no, not that one. Orianna has all the makings to make her a fantastic off-meta support pick, while still fitting essentially into the already established mage support dynamic, and also a bit of Chanter in there as well. But we'll talk about that in a bit when we go over her builds, her runes, and even show you how she should be played in a game. Now, Orianna has a great ability to control spacing with her ball. Since it does stay at the same location, as long as you're within range, you can place it somewhere you don't want the enemy to be. It can be in the brush for a ward, or just stop the enemy from going past the point. Then, if they get in range of your ball, you just cast your W, and then they'll take damage instantly. And it will also slow them, so it might be harder for them to get away if they're dumb. I guess I didn't say this before, but your Q is how you move your ball around. But you can't just use it to place it on top of somebody, then cast the W. That way, it comes as more of a surprise. This is usually where most people will be able to deal their best damage, because the ability's coming from you to the enemy, just like every other champion in the game. I would probably say that controlling your ball and having it be where you always need it to be is the hardest thing to learn about Orianna, but it honestly just takes a few games to get that rhythm going. Now really we come to the enchanter part of her kit, and that's her E. This will just send the ball and it'll shield an ally from the enemy jungler jumping on top of them, but then you can also use your W to speed up your ally as well as slowing down the enemy. When you are playing in lane, honestly that's all you do. In the early game, there isn't much because you don't have a ton of damage, and when going through a lot of my games, I found that the most action came from post 6 interact. Early in the game, just keep someone alive, keep your ADC alive, get some damage in when you can. After 6, you do now have a huge displacement with your ult. It's usually best when combo with someone that can bring the ball to on top of the enemy, but if you do send out the ball and cast it, it's usually just good enough. Just combo it with your W once you get them close, and they're gonna take a lot of damage. And they'll be slowed, so they'll be ready for a follow-up from your ADC. And really just keep doing the same things that you're doing before. Protect your ADC, give them the buffs, deal damage with their ball control, and ult when the time is right. Simple concept, not as easy in practice, just get your reps in. I talked about the ball positioning earlier, and really, at most times, you just want it between you and the enemy. It's just a good rule of thumb. Then once you get out of lane, honestly, your role is just to be the damage and displacement. Throw your ball on top of the engager, then hit R when they go in. J4 might as well be Orianna's best friend, because his ult just combos great with your ult. But really, any fast engager is amazing. Just be there with your team, deal damage, and once you're done, shield your ally, and then just keep doing it that same way. Now, for runes, we're honestly just gonna take some default ones. Summon Airy for more shields and damage, since you do both. Ring for more mana, Galaxy Brain for some cooldown, and Scorch for even more damage, because your E coming back to you actually does deal damage. Secondary tree, we go Biscuits, because even robots get hungry, and Cosmic for even more cooldown. Honestly, change it up if you feel like it. I ain't your mom. For items as a poke support, I usually prefer Zax because I am cringe. One of the things that is a rule is on your first back, buy tier. You need mana, especially early, then eventually you finish this item. But first, you buy your gun. I like the cooldown boots just cause, Zonia's for even more safety, and Death Cap for more potential damage. Let me know in the comments below if you would build them this way, or if you would build them slightly different. And if you're liking these types of guides, please subscribe and like the video so more people can see it too. Now let's get into that Orianna gameplay. Now, like I said earlier, nothing really happens in the early game. Varus gets a kill after we poke them down a bit, then Nuno goes in for a failed gank. Now a bit later, our jungler was looking the gank, and I really wanted to bait the enemy, so I tried my hardest to be hit by these snares. And I was the master baiter, and it was an easy double kill for our Varus. Now we finally have our ult, and we're able to get some great damage on both the enemies, and ready for our Varus to get a kill. The Jhin almost gets out, so I make sure to secure it, even though I wanted the Varus to get it, but he's able to get a nice snipe on that center. Now, of course, I'm all about the action here, so we're gonna go look at our next Fiesta fight in the bot lane, and I kind of abandoned our Varus. I still kind of feel bad about it, but we're able to get a 3 for 2, which is okay, but not as good as it could have been. Then as a quick thing, I'm gonna look to sneak, but then I decided, nah, that ain't for me. So I'm just gonna walk up and stop the Jin's back, and then he just walks right into his death. I like it. A respectful death. And then after that, we end up taking the tower, and we're off to the mid game. Not really. We come back down for the old bring swing it around town pincer maneuver, and we learn that I deal a tiny bit of damage. And it doesn't matter that you're a Jhin, I'm the support and I will still win these fights. Unfortunately, Varus is feeling the same thing with the Senna, but I'm able to clean up the other kill as well. Then we finally rotate to the mid lane and we get into a nice fight where the Ornn thinks he's tanky. Nah, not in the face of this support power. And then we're also able to get another kill on the Jhin. Now it's dragon time and our Rumble really wants to go in, like really bad. And I try my best as my enchanter Orianna play to keep him alive for as long as I can. Then I end up in a fight with the Ornn and he still thinks he's tanky, but it's not about to happen. So we get another kill and finally fall for the first time in the game. Oh, here it is. Oh baby, are you ready for this? We are running for our lives. Then I hatch the biggest wombo scuddly-doo savior play. Oh my god! Oh, they didn't stand a chance! Now, unfortunately, at this point, things start to make a change for the worse, as their Senna is getting more, Senna, but we are able to deal with it for now. We flash, we steal the kill. We don't need to sugarcoat that, and we get into a long, drawn-out fight where my team leaves me to die after all that I have done for them. Now I'm here being a good support, taking my typical patrol and getting a ward down and find the Nunu trying to sneak the Baron. I'm not gonna have that because I deal a tiny bit of damage and we take the Baron for ourselves. Then we find our way pushing lanes, slowly whittling down their base, and we're able to get a nice pick, but not before I see a snowball slowly approaching and I have no flash. We then get into a laggy fight as my game decides to minimize to show me information I didn't care about. Then I die because I really didn't get to position correctly in this fight. We then get another Baron, a decent fight, but it's beginning to be apparent that Senna is a very, very big problem, and unfortunately, after all that, it ends. Their Senna can almost outrange our towers, and we do lose this game because we aren't fast enough. Good rule to know, Senna Ornn, try and beat them early. But hey, we did well and it was a fun game, and that's it, we did it! And if you enjoyed this video, check out this one for an even more outrageously damaging champion with Corki support. Talk to you later!